In a village forgotten by rain, where the earth was cracked and weary, lived a young boy named AaliZil. For as long as anyone could remember, their land had been barren, a dusty canvas of despair. Crops refused to grow, and the villagers, their shoulders slumped with years of disappointment, had surrendered to the belief that their home was cursed, destined to remain dry and lifeless forever. But AaliZil, with eyes that saw beyond the dust, held a different belief. He saw not a wasteland, but a promise waiting to be kept. He believed that with determination, a bit of knowledge, and the strength of many hands working as one, even the most desolate land could be reborn. One bright morning, as the sun began its climb, casting long shadows across the empty fields, AaliZil called his friends together. He spoke not of despair, but of a dream of vision of lush, green fields stretching as far as the eye could see. He painted a picture of abundance, of a village thriving, of laughter echoing where only silence had grown. His passion was a spark in the dry air, and his friends, catching his infectious hope, agreed to join him. Their mission was simple yet monumental: to bring life back to the dead land. Their work began immediately. Together, they fanned out across the parched earth, a small army against an empire of dust. Their first task was to clear the land. They bent their backs, pulling out stubborn weeds and thorny bushes that had claimed the soil. They gathered stones, large and small, their hands becoming calloused and sore. The ground was as hard as rock, unforgiving under their tools. They dug deep, breaking through the compacted layers of soil, their muscles aching with the strain. The sun beat down relentlessly, sweat dripped from their brows, and their throats grew parched. There were moments when exhaustion threatened to overcome them, when the sheer scale of the task seemed impossible. But they looked at AaliZil, whose spirit never wavered, and they kept going, fueled by a shared dream. They were not just clearing land, they were clearing away years of hopelessness. While his friends toiled under the sun, AaliZil dedicated himself to learning. He wasn't a master farmer, but he had a curious mind. He sought out old books and talked to the village elders, piecing together forgotten knowledge of the land. He studied simple, effective farming techniques that didn't require expensive tools or magic. He learned about the natural flow of water and designed a network of small channels to capture and distribute every precious drop of rainwater. He discovered the power of natural fertilizers, creating rich compost from village waste, turning what was once discarded into something that could give life. He became a teacher, patiently showing his friends how to build these small irrigation ditches and how to mix the compost into the tired soil. His knowledge, combined with their hard work, became a powerful force for change. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the land began to respond. The soil, once as hard as stone, became softer, darker, and richer. The team, now a well-oiled machine of hope, planted seeds they had carefully selected hardy grains and vegetables that could withstand the tough conditions. They built small, protective fences from sticks and twine to shield the delicate seedlings from the wind and hungry animals. Their days fell into a rhythm of watering, weeding, and watching. Every morning, they would rush to the fields, their hearts pounding with anticipation, searching for the first signs of life. And then it happened. Tiny green shoots, fragile yet determined, began to push their way through the dark soil. It started with one, then a dozen, then hundreds, until a faint green fuzz covered the fields. A collective gasp of wonder and joy rippled through the village. People who had long avoided even looking at the barren land now gathered at its edges, their eyes wide with disbelief. The sight of those tiny plants was more than just the beginning of a harvest. It was the return of hope itself. Days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. The green shoots grew into strong, healthy plants. The fields, once a monotonous shade of brown, transformed into a vibrant tapestry of green. The air, once thick with dust, now carried the sweet scent of earth and growing things. Life began to return in other ways. Too, birds, long absent from the silent village, returned to sing in the newly formed green spaces. Insects buzzed, and small animals cautiously explored the edges of the fields. The land was no longer silent. It was humming with the music of life. The change was so profound it felt like a miracle. But AaliZil and his friends knew it was a miracle they had built with their own hands. When the time for harvest finally arrived, the results surpassed everyone's wildest dreams. The stalks of grain were heavy. The vegetables were plump and colorful. The yield was more abundant than anyone could have imagined. AaliZil and his friends worked with a renewed energy, their faces beaming with pride as they gathered the fruits of their labor. The entire village joined in, their initial skepticism replaced by overwhelming gratitude and joy. Baskets overflowed with food, and for the first time in years, the threat of hunger was lifted from their homes. The storerooms, once empty and echoing, were now filled to the brim. Prosperity returned to the village, but it brought more than just food. It brought back smiles to the faces of parents who could now feed their children. It brought back laughter, as children played hide-and-seek among the tall stalks of corn. The community, once fractured by despair, was now bound together by a shared victory. They had faced an impossible challenge and had overcome it together. AaliZil and his friends hadn't just cultivated crops. They had cultivated unity, resilience, and a deep sense of happiness that spread through every home. The once barren land became the heart of the village, a living testament to their collective spirit. It stood as a powerful symbol, proving to them and to the world that no challenge is too great when faced with unwavering belief, relentless hard work, and the unbreakable bond of friendship. AaliZil, the boy with a dream, had shown his people a profound truth: that the seeds of prosperity are sown not in the soil, but in the effort we put forth. Together, they had not just changed their landscape, they had built a future brimming with growth, joy, and endless possibility. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little bit of hope today. See you in the next video.